I'm sorry that we can't be together in person to practice, but this is a pretty good second. So today we're going to be practicing the 8 Brocades Qigong form. 8 simple moves that you can practice anytime, pretty much anywhere, and you can teach it to your patients. There's a few sort of housekeeping things that I want to go through before we start moving together. One is make sure you always talk to your physician before you start any form of physical activity. The second is never push past what's comfortable for you as we work together. We have kind of a rule of thumb, only go to 60 to 70% of your range of motion. And if at any time you need to take a break and sit down, you are welcome to do so. In fact, this form can be modified and should be modified for any individual's needs at any time. So that's one of the things that we'll talk about, is how it's important to modify this form based on our needs. So the Badwen Jin, the 8 brocades or 8 pieces of silk, is about 1,000 years old. There's both a standing version, which is what we're going to be doing today, and a seated version as well. For the past several years, I've been teaching this form as part of a chronic pain program, and I can tell you that the participants and patients have really found the form to be of great benefit. And I also have practiced this form and find that when my practice is regular, even just 10 minutes a day, can be really beneficial. And the title of this practice is today is the ordinary can be extraordinary. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is any mind-body practice can allow us to become more present in our lives with what's arising, whether it's perceived as pleasant or as unpleasant. And by learning to sort of sit with what's arising in a non-judgmental way and developing our awareness to what is arising, we can enrich our experience and live a more wholehearted life. And so it doesn't take a lot, just an ordinary simple practice, 8 simple moves with regular practice can be of great benefit. So I'm just going to shift. Let's start moving together. Make sure you have plenty of space where your arms can be extended and you're not going to bump into anybody. You can wear shoes or go barefoot, whatever's safe and comfortable for you. And we're going to practice together a little brief warm-up, and then the 8 brocades, and then a cool down, and we'll be done in about 50 minutes or so. All right? So let's get started. All right, so again, make sure you have plenty of room. Nice upright posture. Knees are soft but not bent. Head is over the shoulders. Shoulders are over the hips, and the hips are over the knees. All right, so we're just generally in line, not ramrod straight and not slouched over, but just natural and neutral. And what I want you to do is just start pouring your weight back and forth from foot to foot. Breathing is natural and soft. Don't try to control the breath. There's no need. And just begin to become aware of that gentle foot massage on the soles of your feet. As you pour your weight from side to side, just notice the feet being massaged by the earth. We have a doing and a non-doing, an active and a passive. A yin and a yang. And we can begin to imagine that this sort of 70% liquid ocean that we're made of is gently pouring and filling one leg as the other leg empties, and back and forth. Just allowing any tension that you might notice to gently dissolve and soften away. And then we're going to go notice some swinging. So as we pour, we also turn and just gently rotate the waist. Arms are just ragdoll arms. And again, we can check in with our feet. What areas of your feet do you notice or do you feel? Are there areas of your feet that are a little more quiet that you don't notice? Again, letting any tension in the shoulders and arms just kind of soften a little bit. You can swing as gently or as robustly as you feel comfortable with. And noticing other areas that you feel this swing in. The thighs and hips. The chest and shoulders just coming along for the ride. The head is upright but soft and pliable, almost like a bobblehead doll. Never moving past what's comfortable for you. We don't want to squeeze that inner ocean or that juice out of the tissue. We want to bathe and marinate our entire body in that healing inner ocean. Now we're going to do a little drumming the chi. So allow that front hand to come up and just tap in the front of the chest and shoulder, that kind of deltopectoral lung 1, lung 2 area. And we just feel the sensation of that little drum beat, that little vibration of energy. You can give yourself a good old whack or just a gentle little tap, whatever you're comfortable with. And we work our way down to the ribs on each side in the sort of liver gallbladder area. And then each side of the belly and each side of the abdomen. Still breathing naturally and freely. Still connected to the ground. And we come back up the midline to the sternum. Solar plexus, kind of REM 12 area. Again, gentle or robust, whatever you feel good with. And navel. Low abdomen. And now we'll do the belly button and kidneys at the same time. And low abdomen and sacrum. Now as we come to a rest, very gently, I just want you to sort of notice what you feel. So we come in for a landing. If you're comfortable, feel free to close your eyes. And just notice sensation in your body. Are there areas that feel a little bit more alive or effervescent? Are there areas that are a little more quiet or asleep? And as we practice today, just allowing those areas of active and passive to commingle naturally without judgment or without trying to fix anything. Breathing is soft and full from the belly. And if your eyes are closed, gently open them and just shake it up. Great. Very good, everybody. All right, so we're going to start in with the 8 brocades. Again, we'll do each move a few reps and we'll build on that, so by the end of the time that we're done, you'll have the basic framework of the 8 moves. You should have a handout with those 8 moves, and there's a ton of information online, a lot of variation. This is kind of what I've settled on, particularly in the work that we do in the chronic pain program, because I find that it's, again, essential to modify and make it available to everybody wherever they're at. And certainly with a lot of people who deal with chronic pain, they're afraid to move. Movement is a frightening proposal. So allowing people to gently come back into the experience of being in their body is really important to do it in a safe way. And sort of in mind-body practice or in body-mind practice, we have top-down systems that are working, and then we have kind of bottom-up systems that are informing our experience. And so as we move today, I really just invite you to just notice the sensation of moving as the meditative quality. So just feeling the way the body moves is enough. All right, so we're going to start again in kind of this empty stance. Weight is 50-50 for the form. Knees are soft. Again, we can imagine that maybe our spine is being held up at due 20 by a string of pearls, right? Just kind of a nice, functional, simple stance. And the first move, supporting the heaven with the hands to regulate the sand jiao. Each one of the moves has a correlation with the TCM Zangfu system, and we say this move benefits the triple burners. So the hands are going to meet in the middle, interlace the fingers, and then just a gentle stretch up. And then the hands release and float down at about a 45-degree angle, all the way out to the fingertips. Good. And we, again, clasp the hands in front if you're comfortable with it. And almost just like a baby waking up from a nap, we just take this curious little stretch, and the hands float down, feeling that all the way out to the fingers. And again, maybe a nice inhale. And if you're comfortable with it, coming up on the balls of the feet, back down to the floor, releasing the hands out. Good. Again, just a curious, gentle stretch, no big deal. On the balls of the feet, and the hands float down. 2 hands hold up the heavens to regulate the sand jiao. Good. And now we're going to move into a horse stance for the second move. So we're going to go just a little bit wider, okay? Now again, sometimes this can make the knees kind of squeeze that juice out. We don't want that. So if you feel that a horse stance is uncomfortable, we can always go back to our empty stance. But generally speaking, about a hip and a half width behind, and then just kind of like you're sitting back on a stool here riding a horse, right? Nice and easy. Your knees are shock absorbers. This can be done seated as well. But we're going to go in and start to get a little bit of workout in the thighs as well. And this next move is called bending bow to shoot the hog, okay? Bending bow. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our hands in front of our body, again, just bringing our hands up in front of our chest. And then one hand is going to grab an imaginary string of a bow, and the other hand is going to extend, and we're going to look over those sword fingers. So if you kind of make a peace sign and bring your fingers together, and you're going to gaze over those fingers if it's comfortable. Okay, so we get a very nice stretch through this sort of front fascia of our chest, this fascial plane. And imagine sort of the lung channel is really being opened as well. And then again, our hands float down at about a 45, come up in front of the body, and now we do it to the other side. So we're going to grab that imaginary string, and then we're going to make our sword fingers, and we're going to pull back this imaginary bow and look over those sword fingers. Release the hand. We say this benefits the kidney and waist. Grab that string and open up. Shoulders stay relaxed. Gazing over those fingers. A little bit of concentration past the fingers. Release the hands. Hands come up in front of the chest. Bending bow. And let the hands float down like rice paper parachutes. Breathing in and breathing out. Gently release the hands. In other direction. Release the hands. Good. And walk the feet in, shoulder width. And just take a moment to kind of feel that sensation in the body. The third move is separating heaven and earth to harmonize the spleen and stomach. And it's a beautiful move. What we're going to do is let one hand float up and the other hand float down. One palm presses up, the other palm presses down. Good. And the hands just cross gently in front of the chest, and the other hand presses up and the other hand presses down. The fingers are awake and kind of like little tendrils just extending, and we would let the hands float down in front of the body. Other hand presses up, and the other hand presses down. So just like the spleen and stomach have an ascending and descending action, we embody that sensation with our movement. Right? It's not stiff, it's more like a little spring shoot coming up out of the ground, just saying, hey, what's going on here? Moving upward and outward freely. Great. And the hands meet in the middle and float down, not quite sure when they'll land. Take a moment and just feel. Are there areas that maybe got a little tight or a little excess tension? You can just gently soften those. Breathing is natural. Feet are still connected to the earth. All right. The next move is looking left and right to leave your troubles behind, or looking behind to reduce the 7 injuries, or that overlying damaging, what is it? I always get those mixed up. Overlying damages the chi, oversitting damages the muscle, those 7 injuries. So we're going to rest our hands on our hips here in our empty stance, okay? And all we're going to do is very gently allow the head to turn one direction and allow the eyes to gaze behind you. And we bring the head back to the center, and just a gentle head turn and neck stretch, looking behind. Pretty simple. And back to the center. Maybe breathe in. And as you turn, exhale. So you actually have a lot going on here, because you're allowing the movement to open up the body, and then you're gazing behind and looking and still feeling your feet on the floor. And if any of you are familiar with the Amy Cuddy TED Talk on power poses, the Superman and the Wonder Woman poses actually have been shown to boost testosterone and lower cortisol. So these gestures of awareness that we have in Tai Chi and Qigong that we see over the millennia are now have some very interesting science behind them to say, wow, the body knows we don't have to do much. Okay, so we just turn the head to one side, back to the center, and gently turning to the other side. Looking left and right to leave your troubles behind. Great. And let the hands fall and just feel. All right, we're going to now move back out into a horse stance if that's comfortable. Okay, a little bend in the knees, about a hip width. We just don't want to, let the knees go too far over those toes in the front. Okay, and we want to stay gently, functionally upright. Now this move, we're actually going to be a little pitched forward. So we're going to turn our thumbs behind, and we're going to slide that thumb and index finger down onto the thighs, okay? If that's painful, you can always just rest your hands on your lap, okay? But this move is called sway the head and swing the tail to clear heart fire, okay? So what we do is we just drop one shoulder with a little spinal twist, and we look over the opposite shoulder. And then we come back to the center, and we drop the other shoulder, little spinal twist, and we gently look behind. We come back to the center, little spinal twist, allowing the head to look behind. And we come back to the center. And we do it again. Sway the head and swing the tail to clear heart fire. And if you might start to feel a little thigh burn, a little shake and bake in the legs, that means you're working out, okay? So we're going to walk the feet back in, lower the hands, and just notice what you feel. All right, so we've turned the corner. We're at past the halfway mark now. We're going to go into the next move. Now this move involves a little bit of a forward bend. So again, we're going to modify it. It's always important to modify based on your ability. This move is called grabbing the toes to benefit the kidney and waist, and it's a forward bend. So we're going to do this in a few parts here, all right? But we're going to start with a gentle forward bend. If you're very flexible, If you do a lot of yoga, forward folds are a piece of cake for you. This will be a little bit easier if you're like me and you don't have great range of motion, or you have some stiffness in your hamstrings. The move doesn't need to be all the way down to the feet. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the fingertips together, but not touching, in front of the belly. And we're going to lift the hands up, letting them float, and turn palm up to the sky. So that sort of pericardium channel is reaching towards the ceiling. And then we're going to turn the hands palm down over the top of our head, over do 20, and bathe ourselves in this fresh yang qi that we've just collected. Allow the hands to come behind the low back to the kidneys. Tuck the chin to the chest, soften the knees, and we'll roll forward into a gentle forward bend, maybe only down to the knees. Hands about the knees. Keep the chin tucked to the chest and roll up the spine vertebrae by vertebrae. Last thing to come up is the head. Fingertips meet in the middle. Let the hands float up. Palms turn up towards the ceiling, kind of pericardium. Palm to the sky. Palms turn down over the crown, along the back of the head. Bring the palms to the low back. Bend the knees a little bit, tuck the chin to the chest, and go into a forward fold. If you're more flexible, you can allow your fingertips to reach around the bottoms of your toes, connecting this sort of cycle from toes to fingertips. Relax the head, keep the knees bent, tuck the chin to the chest, roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Last thing to come up is the head. One more time. Again, low gen point, reaching to the sky, almost imagining that you're just filling up your palms and your arms and your entire being with this fresh energy. And we allow that to come down through the crown of our head, through 220, along the bladder channel, strengthening the kidneys, tucking the chin to the chest, rolling forward. Allow the head to soften. I know you're trying to look at me, but don't worry. It's not that exciting. Let your head fall. Just let go. Keep the chin tucked to the chest and roll up. Last thing to come up is the head. Oh, good. Okay. All right, now we're going to move back out into a horse stance for gazing fiercely at fist to raise the chi, we say. Now, some of the things I've read about this move is that perhaps through a lot of deep meditation, the energy kind of really was very calm and you needed to sort of raise this up a little bit again. But what I like about this move is it feels very strong. It's like the embodiment of a big oak. So what you're going to do is go into a gentle horse stance, chamber your fists loosely, okay, by your side, by your hips here, okay. Again, not squeezing anything tight, but just hanging out here. And you're going to allow one fist to come forward, right about heart height in a standing fist, and the other one stays chambered. And you release the hands, and you just punch with a standing fist straight ahead. Again, not reaching forward. Don't need to scare the tissue at all. Just keeping everything in nice and loose, nice bends. But we're going to bring our awareness to that fist. Okay. So this is a strong posture, and we release the hands and we switch. Release the hands and we switch. My Tai Chi teachers from Brooklyn, and he's like, this posture is, hey, this is my spot, this is my parking spot, right? And in our pain group, a lot of people feel like chronic pain is a bully. It is a bully, and this gives them the opportunity to really stand up to that bully. Breathing is natural. Good. Bring the hands back to the hips, walk the feet in, and release the arms. Shake it out a little bit. All right, we're now at move number 8 of the 8 brocades, if my math is right. This move is called bouncing on the heels 7 times. It's just kind of a finishing move to shake everything out a little bit. Lots of ways to do it. The way I like to settle on is we're just going to bring our hands to our waist again, come up on the balls of the feet, and just gently drop and exhale, right? Come up on the balls of the feet. Good. And again, up on the balls of the feet. Come up on the balls of the feet, and then just feel the vibration ripple through your body as you let go. You can imagine a bubbling well point on their feet, just kind of bringing fresh yin energy up all the way to the top and back down. And shake it out. Wonderful job, everybody. Great job. Okay, this is time to pause for a polling question. It's a true or false question. True or false question. It is appropriate and necessary to modify the moves of any Qigong form for the ability and needs of the person practicing. So you should be seeing a little action in the chat box there, and you can just say true or false. It is important and essential to modify the moves of the Qigong form to the needs of the person or patient or individual. Okay? All right. Now we're going to put it all together, all right? So we're going to put it all together, and again, just kind of loosen up, right? Just we move to feel. We're not trying to look good, or we don't care if we're in a Qigong class. We want to come back into the experience of the body. So we'll do a few reps each move all the way through, okay? Hands come together, just like a baby waking up. 2 hands hold up to heaven to regulate the triple burner, and the hands float down. Hands come in front of the body. Turn palm up, just waking up on the balls of the feet, working on the balance if you're comfortable with it, and the hands float down all the way through the fingertips. One more. Hands come up in front of the body. Palms turn up. And the hands float down. Second move, we step back out into a nice comfortable horse stance, bending bow. Hands come up in front of the body, bending bow to one side, opening the chest, shoulders are soft, looking over those fingers. Hands float down and up in front of the body. Hands float down, just feeling the movement through the chest and back and neck. Always backing off if anything is uncomfortable. down in front of the body. Good. Walk the feet back in, about shoulder width. Separating heaven and earth to regulate the spleen and stomach. One hand presses up, the other hand presses down. Good. And the other hand comes up, feeling the air resting against the palms. Maybe we modify and take a little side stretch with that upper hand pointing to the bending side, and we come back to the center. Hands cross in the middle, pursing up. Maybe a little side stretch, just opening up the rib side, almost like foot pajamas from the toes to the fingertips, this line of communication. And back to the center one more time. Opening up that lateral fascial plane, the gallbladder channel, back to the center. And again, just feeling that opening from the toes all the way through the body to the fingers. And maybe you don't feel those areas, that's fine, no problem. Just notice without judgment. Come back to the center, hands meet in the middle. And float down. One of my meditation teachers said, try not to judge, and if you are judging, try not to judge the judging. All right, very good. So we're going to rest our hands on our waist, looking left and right to prevent the 7 injuries. Gentle head and neck stretch. Back to the center. Breathing is natural. Other side. Looking behind you, gazing behind. And back to the center. And one more time. Stepping out into horse stance. Allow those hands to just slide down. Sway the head and swing the tail to clear hard fire. We drop one shoulder, look over the opposite. Little spinal twist. Come back to the center. Imagine your entire body is just filling up with qi and blood and yin, and as we twist, all of that just extends through all the body. The channels, the cells, the muscles, the blood. Back to the center. Just a little internal organ massage to the other side. And back to the center. One more time. And we'll come back to the center. Walk the feet in gently to shoulder width. Roll up. Good. 2 hands hold up the sky, two hands hold the feet to benefit the kidney and waist. So the hands are going to come up in front of the body. Turn palm up. On the balls of the feet, if you're comfortable with it, back down to the floor as the palms turn down. Bringing the hands behind the neck to the kidneys as we tuck the chin to the chest for a gentle forward fold. Only going to about 60 to 70% of your max range of motion. Keep the chin soft and lowered. Back of the neck is open, bend the knees, roll up the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Fingertips meet towards the center. Come up. Palms turn up. Gentle stretch all the way up on the balls of the feet through the fingers to the toes. Back to the floor. Palms down, bathing our crown and neck with fresh energy all the way down our spine to the kidneys, allowing the hands to roll forward along the backs of the legs, the bladder channel. And if you're flexible, tucking the fingers under the toes for a nice gentle breath. Bend the knees, keep the chin tucked, and roll up gently vertebrae by vertebrae. Good. Stepping out back into a horse stance, resting the hands for gazing fiercely at fist, focusing your energy at the end of that fist. Release, other side. Release, gazing intently at that fist, right? Just some mental concentration. My legs are getting a little workout, so that's great. Walk the feet in, shoulder width. We'll do the other variation for rocking 7 times on the heels. You just let your hands go. And as we come up on the balls of the feet, we gently do a little gentle squeeze of the shoulders. And we inhale and just let everything go. 2. 3. Gentle squeeze. Let everything go. 4. 5. 6. And 7. And shake it out. Well, congratulations, everybody. You did it. That's the 8 brocades. We're going to do a little bit of a cool down here, and then we'll get you hopefully nice and relaxed and energized for the rest of Great River. So let's do a little meridian tapping just to kind of get everything circulating. We'll start with the heart. Give ourselves a pat on the heart. We'll go down the in channels, up the yang channels. Give yourself a pat on the back. Good job. I did awesome. Heart, yin channels, up the yang channels. One more time. Good. Other side. Start with the heart, down the yin channels, up the yang channels. Pat yourself on the back. Good job. Down the yin channels, up the yang channels. Good, massage your kidneys. Nice vigorous warming up of the kidneys using kind of a loose fist. Just massaging the low back. Good, then we'll tap down the outside and up the inside. Pat down the outside, up the inside, down the outside. And up the inside, down the outside, and up the inside. Good. Lace your fingers together and let your hands rest right on the occiput around gallbladder 20 and just massage any tight soreness. Take the backs of your fingertips and brush the scalp. This is like Dr. Ma's beautiful scalp tweet-knot protocol. I like to call it the Arthur Fonzarelli. And take the pads of your hands and tap the top of the head. Good. Shake it out. And we're going to do a couple cycles of a very simple Qigong move called renewing ourselves with energy from nature. Okay? You can do it standing or seated. Allow the hands to just float up, just above the head. And we're just going to use the imagination to gather this healing, nourishing energy from the entire universe between our hands. And we bring that energy down through the cells of our brain, the folds of our brain, the muscles of the head and neck, through the chest and heart and lungs, just nourishing, filtering out any tension, through the abdomen and intestines and pelvic bowl. The hips soften, the arms let go, the knees soft. And imagine that these tree roots are penetrating deep into the earth, giving you a place to just let go of any tired, sore energy. We do that one more time. Just bring the hands up. Gather this fresh energy from nature. Bring it down through the top of the head. Filtering out any stuck, stagnant energy and renewing and restoring every cell of the body as you let go deep into the earth. One more time, the hands gently come up. Just take a few moments and gather this fresh, healing, nourishing energy, renewing and restoring every tissue, cell, blood vessel, bone, dissolving any pain or tension or tiredness. And just letting all that go through those deep tree roots into the earth. Now we'll scoop up a little energy from the earth through those tree roots, all the way up, palms turn down, and release. And now we put those two moves together as you bring the hands up and down. Palms turn up as you bring in fresh yin energy from the earth. And release. And just feel the body. Allowing active and passive to commingle and healing to happen naturally. Becoming aware of the abundance of the present moment. The uniqueness of the present moment. Beyond thought. And just awareness. Good, we'll shake it out a little bit. Tap the feet on the ground. And that's it.